Okay, so this is our lesson number 2, Introduction to HTML. I'm Shant Piratna from IT Center. Now we know what is protocol. Protocol is a set of rules defined for doing particular task. In computer network, protocols specify interaction between communicating entities. Communicating entities mean it may be two computers or computer with any other device attached to computer network. HTTP is example for protocol. In HTTP protocol, they define transmitting hypermedia documents. How the web works. Now we know that there is an architecture called client-server architecture. Client is there, server is there. Client request service from the server. It may be HTTP request. So if it is a web page request, it is HTTP or HTTPS, depending on the implementation of the server. And server responds to the client's request. So it may be HTTP or HTTPS response. What is website? Website is a collection of related web pages. Those are included, including text, graphics, maybe audio, maybe video, any content related to web. So there are two kinds of websites, static website and dynamic website. What is static website? Static website means the content of the website is not changed from one user to another user. For example, in website containing news. So that news page is not changed from one user to another user. That means content is same for the all the users. On the other hand, there's another website called dynamic website. That is, the content of the dynamic website is changed dynamically from one user to another user. For example, email. For example, email, that is, email account of two users is totally different from one to another. Another example is social network account. The social network website, that means users have their own accounts. Those accounts, that means the content of the account is different from one to another. Then I told you that website is a collection of web pages. Then what is web page? Web page is a document which is commonly written in hypertext markup language we call HTML. That is, a web page contains text, graphics, audio or video or a link to another web page, something like that. Then we can access the web page through the network using a special type of application called web browser. So web page is accessed by entering its address. Its address means a website address, what we call URL, Uniform Resource Locator. That is, URL is the address of the web page or World Wide Web. Then I told you that HTML means hypertext markup language. That language means, actually, what is language? Language is a collection of vocabulary and a defined set of rules how those vocabulary is used in a particular task. It is a notation for describing. In here, there is a document structure, and then there is their own formattings. Then that's language define the structure of the document and how they are connected. That is, looks like a Word document. In MS Word, or any Word document, we have formattings, and then we can insert uh, elements that may be a characters or shapes, something like that. And next one is HTML tag. Actually, HTML describes structure of the web page, which consists series of elements. Elements means maybe a characters or text, or it may be a table, it may be a images, it may be a audio file, or maybe a video file, something like that. So all elements are represented by tags. That is, the markup tag provide information about the web page content. That is the content structure. Then the web browser render web page using HTML tags. That is, the depending on the tag, browser render its content. Then let's see how can we create web page. Actually, HTML file should have a file extension called HTML or HTM. Then we can use any text editor to create web page or HTML file. It may be a Notepad or Notepad++. So there are so many text editors. So for the time being, we use Notepad, and then later on we can use Notepad++. So these are the tools that we can use for creating web page. But for the beginners, it's better to use a text editor, plain text editor, to create web pages, right? So this is the basic structure of the web page, right? So I told you that there are a set of tags in HTML. So basically, the HTML web page starting with this HTML starting tag, and it's ending with this HTML closing tags. So those tags are nested one inside another. That means once if you open this HTML tag, so assume I have closed this HTML tag in here. So in between this opening and closing tag, here once if you start a particular tag, we have to close that tag before closing this HTML tag. That means, so in here, so this is one of the starting tag. So this is the closing tag related to this opening tag. So once if you're opening another tag in between these two, we have to close that opening tag before closing this HTML tag. That's what we call nested. So you can understand further this concept in later, right? So this is the uh, basic structure of the web page, right? And HTML describes the structure using two main sections. So those are called head and body. That means HTML page contains the two sections, header section and body section. So this is the HTML starting tag, this is the HTML closing tag. Then, so this is the structure of this HTML web page. This is the header part, this is called body, right? It is head section and body section. And then HTML code formatting. Actually, HTML source code should be formatted to increase the readability and facilitate to debugging. So actually this one also can understand in later. That means when you are writing the HTML tags, you have to insert every block element in a new line, and all the nested elements should be indent, right? So I'll explain this one in again when you when we are writing, when we are creating web pages. So this is the first HTML page. So this is the starting tag, or we call this is the doc type tag. So let's see, let's take one by one. HTML tags. Actually, HTML tags are the keywords in HTML language. Those are surrounded by angle brackets like this, right? So this name of the tag, and then the first tag in the pair is the starting tag. Actually, the most of the tags are comes as a pair of tags, and so this is the starting tag, and then this one is called ending tag, and the ending tag is written almost same as the starting tag, but there is a little bit different in ending tag. We have to insert this slash before the tag name. So this is the starting tag. That is starting tag surrounded by angle brackets, and then you can insert the content in here. After the content, we have to insert ending tag, and in addition to these angle brackets, you have to put this slash before the tag name. And then HTML element consists of an opening tag and a closing tag. And in between opening and closing tag, we can insert the content. An element whose content is empty, they don't have a closing tag. Let's see those tags in later. And this is our first HTML page. So this is called a doc type tag, which define the document type and which will help the browser to display the web page properly. And then next one is the HTML tag. So that's what we call root element of a web page. That is called root element. So this is the opening HTML tag, and in same indent we can insert closing HTML tag. In between opening and closing HTML tag, we can insert header section and body section. So this is we call header section, right? Actually, header section provide the extra information about the web page. This is called a meta information. That is the information about the web page. And then this serves as a container for sections such as styles and scripts, all those things. So in later on this lecture series, we can discuss about the style sheets and the scripts. So this is called HTML header section. And next one is the opening tag of title. So inside the HTML header section, we can insert the title of the web page. That we can assign a title for the web page. The title tag specify the title of the web page. So in my case, I put a title called my first HTML page. And then next section is the body section. So this is the content where which contains the visible content of the web page. So this is the where this is the place where we can insert a visible content of the web page. So this is called body section. Actually, in here I have inserted here I have inserted the a paragraph for the web page. So this is called HTML body section. So let's see how can we insert paragraph. Paragraph delimited by p tag, and then in here we can insert a paragraph. Okay, let's see. Let's try to create a web page. Let's try to create a web page. Okay, let's create a web page. First of all, you have to open a text editor. In this course, I told you that we can use a notepad. So this is my notepad, right? So I increase font size, so 24. Okay. First of all, let's see how to save this file. So you can go to File and Save As. So I create a folder on my desktop called say IT301, and then so I create another folder called day 2 inside IT301 folder, and then here we can set the file name. So I say first. So this is my first web page, so therefore I say first web page. Then so this is my file name. So I have to insert, you have to put the file extension called htm or html. So I call first web page dot, then my file extension is html. Then I can save it. I have saved my file using html extension. Then let's start creating web page. So first tag is doc type. So this the tag which define the type of the document, so which will help to a browser for properly identify the page.